You can do better than that, I said, looking into her desperate eyes. I'm not dancing for show, and my kids are watching. The moment froze between us, her hand extended, my refusal hanging in the air. What happened next changed everything for both of us. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're enjoying this story already, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the complicated, messy, and beautiful moments that make up our lives. Your support means the world to me. The first time I met Eliza Winters, she wasn't my boss. She was just another parent at my daughter's school fundraiser, standing alone by the punch bowl. I was juggling my 5-year-old son's jacket while my 8-year-old daughter tugged at my hand, begging to go see her friends. "Dad, please, can I go play with Mia?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with that look that always melted my resolve. 10 minutes, then we need to head home, I said, watching her dash off into the crowd of children. That's when I noticed the woman in the navy blue dress, observing the scene with a slight smile. Our eyes met briefly before I turned my attention back to my son, who was now attempting to climb onto a nearby table. "Jamie, buddy, tables aren't for climbing," I said, scooping him up. "Your kids are adorable," the woman said, approaching us. "I'm Eliza Winters, the new principal." I shifted Jamie to my hip and extended my hand. "Noah Bennett. Single dad and perpetually exhausted human." Her laugh was genuine, and for a moment, I forgot about the mountain of laundry waiting at home and the deadline looming at work. 3 months later, I was sitting across from her desk, interviewing for the position of school counselor. I needed stable hours that aligned with my children's schedules, and the school needed someone with my background in child psychology. It seemed perfect. "Your qualifications are impressive," Eliza said, reviewing my resume. "But I have to ask, can you handle working in the same environment where your children attend school?" I leaned forward. "Ms. Winters, being a single parent has taught me how to compartmentalize better than any training ever could. My kids are my world, but I know how to be professional." She hired me that afternoon. Working with Eliza was easy. She was fair, dedicated, and genuinely cared about the students. We developed a comfortable professional relationship, occasionally sharing lunch breaks discussing everything from educational policy to our favorite movies. I learned that she'd moved to our small town after a difficult breakup, seeking a fresh start. I told her about losing my wife to cancer 3 years earlier and the challenges of raising 2 young children alone. What I didn't tell her was how I'd started to notice the way her eyes crinkled when she laughed, or how she always remembered Jamie's dinosaur phase and Lily's obsession with space. The annual spring fundraiser was in full swing when everything changed. The gymnasium had been transformed with twinkling lights and a small dance floor. I was chaperoning while my kids played games with their friends in the adjacent classroom. Eliza appeared beside me, looking uncharacteristically nervous. Her usual confident demeanor was replaced with something more vulnerable. "Noah," she said quietly, "I need a favor." Before I could respond, she nodded toward the entrance. A tall man in an expensive suit had just walked in, his arm around a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. "My ex," Eliza explained, her voice tight. "I didn't know he was in town. He's on the board of a major educational foundation, probably here to evaluate our grant application." I watched her face carefully. "Are you okay?" "No," she admitted. "We ended badly. He left me for her, and I don't want him to think I'm still affected." She took a deep breath and met my eyes. "Dance with me. My ex is watching. The reward is a kiss." The request hung between us, loaded with implications. I glanced toward the classroom where my children were playing, then back at Eliza, my boss, my friend, and someone I'd grown to care about more than I was ready to admit. "You can do better than that," I said softly. "I'm not dancing for show, and my kids are watching." Her face fell, and I realized she'd misunderstood. What I mean is, I continued, taking her hand, if we're going to dance, let's dance because we want to. Not for him. And as for that kiss. I smiled. I'd rather earn that properly, not as payment for a performance. Relief flooded her features, followed by something warmer. Noah Bennett, you continue to surprise me. We moved to the dance floor just as the music shifted to a slow song. I placed my hand respectfully on her waist, maintaining a professional distance despite the electricity I felt at her touch. They're watching, she whispered, tension evident in her shoulders. Forget them, I said. Tell me about your day instead. As we swayed to the music, I kept her engaged in conversation about the fundraiser's success, the new library program, anything to distract her from the eyes she felt burning into her back. Gradually, her body relaxed against mine. Dad. Ms. Winters. Lily's voice broke through the moment as she and Jamie ran up to us. Can we dance too? Without hesitation, Eliza stepped back and knelt to Jamie's height. May I have this dance, Mr. Bennett? She asked formally, making my son giggle. I lifted Lily into my arms, and the four of us created our own little circle on the dance floor, laughing as Jamie attempted to twirl Eliza under his arm. When I glanced up, I saw Eliza's ex watching us, his expression unreadable. But it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the joy on my children's faces and the genuine smile that had replaced Eliza's anxious one. Later, as the event wound down and the children grew tired, Eliza helped me gather their things. Thank you, she said quietly. Not just for the dance, but for reminding me what's important. Anytime, I replied, meaning it more than she knew. As weeks passed, our professional relationship deepened into friendship. Eliza became a regular visitor at our home, bringing books for Lily and dinosaur figurines for Jamie. She helped with homework when I worked late and remembered every important date in our family calendar. One evening, after the kids were asleep, we sat on my porch swing, talking about everything and nothing. Noah, she said suddenly, I need to tell you something. My heart raced as she turned to face me. I'm being offered a position at the state education department. It would mean moving to the capital. The news hit me harder than I expected. That's a great opportunity, I managed. It is, she agreed. But I'm not sure I want to leave. The school needs you, I said automatically. Eliza shook her head. That's not what's holding me back. Our eyes met in the dim porch light, and I understood what she wasn't saying. The same thing I'd been afraid to voice for months. My kids adore you, I said softly. Just your kids? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I took her hand, feeling the weight of the past and the possibility of the future. No. Not just them. When she leaned forward, there was no audience, no ex-boyfriend to impress, no reward being claimed. Just two people who had found each other when they weren't looking. Our first kiss tasted like second chances. The decision wasn't simple. We had to consider my children, our professional relationship, and the complications that would arise. But some things are worth the complexity. Eliza turned down the state position. Instead, she applied for a role as district superintendent, allowing her to advance her career while staying in our community. I continued as school counselor, and we established clear boundaries between our personal and professional lives. Lily and Jamie adjusted to the change with surprising ease. Does this mean Ms. Winters will read us bedtime stories more often? Jamie asked innocently. Only if you brush your teeth without being reminded, Eliza replied, winking at me over his head. It wasn't always smooth. There were moments of doubt, arguments about parenting approaches, and the inevitable challenges of blending lives. But there were also family movie nights, science project collaborations, and quiet moments of connection that made everything worthwhile. 1 year after that dance, I took Eliza back to the school gymnasium, decorated once again for the annual fundraiser. This time, when I asked her to dance, there was no hesitation, no audience we were trying to impress. "You know," I said as we swayed to the music, "I never did collect that reward you offered." Eliza laughed, the sound I'd grown to love. "As I recall, you turned it down." "I had a better idea," I replied, stopping our dance to drop to one knee. The gasps from around us faded into background noise as I pulled out the small velvet box I'd been carrying for weeks. "Eliza Winters, you came into our lives when we needed balance, joy, and new beginnings. You've become not just someone I love, but someone my children love. Would you do us the honor of making our family complete? Will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears as she nodded, unable to speak. When she finally found her voice, she said, "Yes, but on one condition." "Anything," I promised. "No more dancing for show. Only for us." As I slipped the ring onto her finger, I knew that some dances are worth waiting for, and the best rewards come when you're not looking for them. So to everyone watching this video, remember that love often appears when you're busy making other plans. Sometimes the person you least expect becomes the one you can't imagine living without. And sometimes, saying, "You can do better than that," is the beginning of something beautiful. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more content about life, love, and the unexpected journeys that shape us. Share your own stories in the comments below. I read every single one. Until next time, keep dancing to your own rhythm.